Hello everyone, Joel here. Survival games are basically just us proving that if the world ended tomorrow, we'd spend our time punching trees and organizing chests by color. 2026 has been absolutely cooking with new releases and massive updates recently, and honestly, I'm here for it. So grab your pickaxe and let's just dive straight into what you should be playing right now. Starting off in the weird and wonderful, we've got Wonderia. It just hit early access this July, and it's this procedurally generated open-world sandbox that honestly has a really strange sense of humor. You're basically playing real estate agent for space travelers on an alien planet, building custom homes to convince them to move in. The building mechanics are surprisingly deep, and it has online co-op so you and your friends can completely ruin the local planetary housing market together. It's got puzzle dungeons and solid combat, but mostly I just love terraforming the landscape until it looks like a neon fever dream. If you want something a bit more punishing, let's talk about Whisper of the Swallows. This game drops you into a cursed procedurally generated hellscape where the extreme weather is basically actively trying to murder you. And if the weather doesn't get you, the nightmares lurking in the dark absolutely will. But honestly, the co-op in this is smoother than I'd expected. You start in absolute misery and slowly build a sanctuary of light. It's terrifying, it's brutal, and you will scream when the lights go out, but surviving actually feels earned. Now, if you've got that factory builder itch, Eden Crafters just dropped back in May, and it's scratching it perfectly. You are dropped onto a hostile planet with the goal of terraforming it into a human haven. The sheer dopamine hit of automating a massive factory and watching a toxic, poisonous ocean slowly turn into pure drinkable water is unmatched. Sure, the UI is a little basic and the wheeled vehicles drive like shopping carts on ice, but who cares when you can literally deflect a moon to stop a giant tsunami? It's single player or co-op, and the automation loop is dangerously addictive. Speaking of addictive building, scrap mechanic is still out here defying the laws of physics. Look, we all know the drill by now. You spawn in, you build a wacky little car, you miscalculate the bearings, and suddenly your vehicle is doing backflips into the stratosphere. The survival mode is just this perfect blend of mechanical engineering and pure chaos. Fending off those farm bots with a spud gun while your automated farm defenses accidentally blow up your own base is a rite of passage. It's janky in all the best ways, and the community creations are still blowing my mind. Taking a massive detour into Cozy Town, we have Solarpunk, which just arrived a few weeks ago in June. Imagine a technologically advanced world of floating islands, where you build your own airship and automate your base using wind and solar energy. The vibe here is completely relaxed. There's no exploiting nature, just coexistence. If you treat the pigs well, they'll dig up truffles for you, which is honestly better treatment than my boss gives me. Managing your batteries so your base doesn't shut down during a cloudy day is the only real stress you'll face. It's just pure floating aesthetic bliss. Before we go into the list, I want to give you my recommendation for some of the best deals in instant gaming right now, especially if you're tight on budget. We knew that instant gaming always give us so many crazy deals for your favorite games, like these titles for example. I mean, can you believe these prices? If you love RPGs, there's no way you never heard of these masterpieces, and to think that you can get them under $10 or even $5, it's an absolute steal. All you have to do is just click my link in the description below, start searching for your favorite games, and use the activation code on your chosen platform. By using my link, you're not only saving tons of money, but also helping me to support this channel. Alright then, let's get back into the list. On the flip side of relax, Soulmask is out here letting you run a primal cult. This game has you surviving in a primitive land, but the gimmick is that you find these mystical masks that give you insane abilities like immortality or literally firing homing missiles. The best part, you can possess your tribe members. If your main character is tired, just slap a mask on Gary the Gatherer and take him for a joyride. It's a massive open world, and while the grind can be a bit heavy sometimes, the mask abilities and tribe management make the survival loop feel incredibly fresh. And if we're talking fresh, Everwind takes the survival RPG formula and slaps it onto a flying island ship. You and your friends sail above the clouds, gathering resources, exploring diverse biomes, and fighting enemies in first person. Honestly, trying not to accidentally fall off your ship while crafting gear is half the challenge here. It's a totally novel take on the sandbox genre, and having a mobile flying fortress means the scenery is constantly changing. The developers have been super active with the community too, making it an easy recommendation. Sticking with the magical vibes, Witchspire is this cozy fantasy game that just hit early access. You play as a witch with your own familiar, doing spell-based progression and building magical sanctuaries. Let's be real, the onboarding and tutorials right now are a little rough around the edges. You might spend your first hour just trying to figure out how to craft a simple potion. But once you get past that initial hum, the spell casting and the handcrafted world are genuinely charming. It's definitely a diamond in the rough that needs a bit more polish, but the magical aesthetic is totally nailing it. Now, if you want polish and sheer panic, StarRupture is the newest masterpiece from CreepyJar. Yeah, the madman who made Green Hell. It launched back in January, and it's a first-person base builder set on an ever-changing planet that constantly goes through cataclysms. So not only are you building a complex industrial system, but you're also fighting off relentless hordes of alien monsters. It's basically Green Hell meets Factorio with Starship Troopers bugs. It is stressful, the combat is surprisingly advanced, and trying to keep your extractors running while aliens chew on your walls is prime gaming adrenaline.
Mainly dirt and rock, but there are resources we can use to upgrade the outpost.
Diving deep underground, we've got AETHUS, which launched back in March. Think of it as Subnautica meets LEGO Rock Raiders. You're exploring dystopian underground caverns, mining gems, farming hydroponic crops, and uncovering a super sketchy corporate conspiracy. The physics-based mining is incredibly satisfying, and the narrative focus really sets it apart from typical sandbox games. You're not just surviving for the sake of it, you're actually figuring out what went horribly wrong with this corporate science expedition. Just remember to watch your oxygen, because corporate definitely isn't paying for your life insurance down there. Moving from the future back to the past, Going Medieval finally hit its massive 1.0 release this March after years in early access. This is the ultimate 14th century colony sim. You're managing survivors of a deadly plague, assigning tasks, and building massive multi-level 3D voxel castles. The depth is staggering. You have to manage food storage, winter freezing, and settlers getting grumpy because they had to eat raw cabbage, and honestly, digging a massive cursed cellar hole into the mountain just to keep your wine cool is the peak Going Medieval experience. It's RimWorld in 3D and it's glorious. And speaking of voxel building, Enshrouded is gearing up for its huge 1.0 console launch later this year, and the player base is already sitting at over 5 million. This game is an action RPG wrapped in a survival blanket. You are exploring Embervale, building gorgeous bases, and diving into the Shroud, this thick hostile fog that will literally dissolve you if you stay in it too long. The combat is heavily inspired by Souls games, but way more forgiving, and the terraforming is so smooth you can carve a hobbit hole right into a mountain. Just don't get greedy with the loot when your Shroud timer is blinking red. If you prefer the open ocean to the foggy mountains, Windrose is giving us that alternative Age of Piracy survival adventure. It just dropped into early access this July, and it basically takes the classic buildcraft survive formula and slaps a pirate hat on it. You're building ships, engaging in intense naval and land combat, and exploring vast islands. It feels a bit like Sea of Thieves had a baby with Valheim. Chopping down trees to build your dream pirate cove while sea shanties play in your head is an absolute vibe, and the exploration loop is genuinely hooking. But you can't talk about oceans without bringing up the Titan itself. Subnautica 2 officially launched into early access this May, fully built in Unreal Engine 5, and it finally has up to 4-player co-op. You can now drag 3 of your friends down to the terrifying depths of an entirely new alien ocean. Exploring alongside buddies changes the whole dynamic, though getting tag teamed by massive new leviathans is just 4 times the screaming. They've added a whole new DNA modification system, and the graphics are absolutely jaw-dropping. And finally, we have to talk about Palworld. The 1.0 update literally just dropped on July 10th, and Pocket Pair went absolutely insane. They doubled the map size, opened up the World Tree Endgame region, added a floating sky island called Sunreach, and dropped 72 brand new pals into the mix, bringing the total to almost 300. We've got new mutation systems, a wing pack glider, and they even added dedicated server voice chat. It's not just Pokemon with guns anymore, it has fully evolved into a massive, polished survival juggernaut. It's time to rebuild your base and put those new pals to work.